everybody. Glad you could join us tonight. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to go into discussion deeper on the light because there's many people who have benefited from the light and why and what's so different about our unit and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into that, the technical stuff. But first, we're going to start the one video. 15 years back, I realized that light could make a huge difference on the body. I ended up designing this very powerful light using LED technology. With this amount of very high power density, it can reach through the tissues and travel right to the joints. But the key is that the power density and the area is extremely important to deliver that light into that. The mitochondria receives that light and converts that energy into the cell. So it's like giving the cell super high octane fuel, and they run like a jet, and they're able to do all the things for repair in that. What are the products we have? Well, we have a small device, which is actually large when it comes to light therapy. You have a fairly large area of light and a high power density that can be used for different parts of the body, like your fingers, shoulder, back, neck, knees, ankle, anywhere on the body. And then we have what's called the mini canopy, which is about a foot square in size. And then we have our full-size canopy, which is basically 6 of the mini canopies. And then we have another device, which is the helmet, and that device can help for mental issues, for brain injuries, for concussions, for PTSD, TBI, all of those kinds of things. And there's new research out there that shows it could be helpful for not only strokes, but dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and just different brain issues. Our plans are to move this technology into every area of the world where there's pain and inflammation, which is basically everywhere, and to expand that so people understand all the applications where this technology can be used to help them in their health in the body as a wellness device. People are looking for how they can treat themselves without drugs. Okay, well, I am so happy I got Deborah De Maris is going to be able to join us. She was another person that I was able to connect with. And Deborah, if you'd like to turn on your video and audio, it would be fantastic. Hey, there we go. Oh, you're muted yet. Hopefully we can get your audio working.
If it's working.
It's working. The audio is working.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yay!
Okay, you can hear me and I can't hear you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start talking. I am so glad to be on this tonight because the product is amazing and it has done so many things for me. And just to kind of let you know, it's like I can tell this joke because I'm from Texas. And what is the last words that you usually hear from Texans? And it's, hey, y'all, watch this. Because we lived our life getting bucked off horses and riding on everything and skiing and just everything you can think of. So I have a lot of aches and pains that have come to haunt me now. Now, the main reason that I started using the red light was because I had terrible vertigo, and my dear friends, Scott and Vicki Faulkner, loaned me their red light, their palm held. And I began seeing differences immediately. And I had been through almost a year of practically being an invalid because I had been to more than 16 different doctors and therapists. And some of them were just not helpful at all, and some of them were fabulous, but still I was floundering with this terrible, terrible vertigo. And I mean, I was in bed most of the time, and I am a very active person. I like to work on my yard, I work on my house, I get up and I stay moving all day. And to have something like vertigo destroy your life like that is just, I was so miserable. Now, I was doing a lot of other things and I had some really good doctors, and it did require some physical therapy because it turns out that aside from whatever's going on in my head, the migraine vertigo that caused a lot of damage, there was also the top three bones in my cervical spine needed to be adjusted. And that all did a lot, but I have to tell you that the red light had made an immediate and instant difference. And then I've been watching a lot of your videos, and some people talk about how they've used it in different ways, and I've experimented with that too. And I can just say that it has really changed my life. It's a wonderful thing. God bless you. God bless Scott and Vicki Faulkner. I think I would still not be back to my robust self without your red light. And when I wake up in the morning, I see which particular old injury is bothering me, and I use the light on it, and I'm okay. And it's amazing, and it's wonderful. And I thank you for all your good work.
Well, I wish you could hear me, but I want to thank you for sharing your testimony because
I'm afraid I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what I did to the phone, but again, thank you for all your good work.
Okay, if she can turn off her video. There you go. Okay, well, maybe she can hear me this time around, but I want to thank Deborah for coming on and explaining how she was being able to be helped by using the light for vertigo and just a host of other things that she was dealing with. And if you didn't quite catch it, she rode horses like a barrel racing, where they go around the barrels as fast as they can, and she's been thrown from a horse multiple times, and I don't know about I can't imagine the long-term effects on the body of getting thrown from a horse, but it's not good. And I think if I remember one time she was even caught in one of the stirrups and the horse took off and she was getting dragged around. So none of that would probably do well for your body long term. So anyways, it's so great that Deborah was able to come on, and especially to Scott and Vicki Faulkner, who have blazed the way for using light therapy. And we're not just talking my light therapy. They've been very, very helpful in the PBM Foundation. Scott has been very much involved in a nonprofit organization that has helped promote PBM, Photobiomodulation. So for those that are new, they wouldn't know why isn't it called red light therapy or something. Well, it turns out that light therapy has been named all kinds of things. And because it started with laser, a lot of people will call it laser therapy, and it's not. Oh, as a matter of fact, you can use lasers, but you don't need to use lasers. Now with the power of LEDs, you have enough light power there to go right through my hand, as you can see it right there going through my hand because of the amount of optical power coming from this device. Now, okay, so a laser is something that puts see how it's just it doesn't have a lot of power, this one here, but you can see the small spot of light coming out of the laser, where an LED is more like, see how it gets bigger like that. So if I pull the LED away, you see how the spot starts getting bigger. With some in the beginning would say, well, you had to have a laser light. And in actual fact, laser provides a certain optical power, and so do LEDs. And now with LEDs, you're lighting entire cities, street lights, football stadiums, soccer stadiums. All of it is now lit by LED light because you can have a lot of optical power, a lot of bright light from LEDs. In this case, instead of using a laser, we're using LEDs to provide optical light power. And so when it come back to what's the name then of photobiomodulation? Photo is to do with light. Bio happens to do with biology, and modulation, something that's affecting you're modulating the cells. So in this case, you're helping the cells to work better the way they were designed to work. So what's really interesting is that the light can be absorbed by the mitochondria, and I'll get into that in a few minutes, but back to the name. So as they've been trying to work through all of the research studies, they were calling it cold level laser therapy, low level laser therapy, low level light therapy. There was LLLT, and there's just a whole pile of forms. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, there's almost like 100 names that were out there for light therapy and red light therapy and near infrared light therapy. Well, in this case, they came up with a new term called photobiomodulation. And so they're trying to capture that very large area of light treatments using light. Now, this is to be differentiated between what's called photodynamic therapy. Photodynamic therapy is when you take a particular drug and you have the bad C in your body, whether on the skin, let's say, and it's possible to put this cream on that is for bad C on your skin and use light to photoactivate that and kill the bad C cells. Now you may wonder, why am I using bad C? We've been censored on YouTube, and even though I described that this treatment has been out there for 20 years, they won't allow me, and there's hundreds of research articles to show how this light and drug can kill bad C. It didn't matter the fact that I argued with them, I debated with them that, look, this is a real type of treatment. And they said basically I was spreading disinformation. So from now on, I've had to use the words big C, something that hopefully won't take my video off. And I got one warning against me now. I don't want to have another warning. So anyways, there is photodynamic therapy that has been around for over 20 years for different parts of the body that it can clean up using light and this specific drug. In this case, with photobiomodulation, we're getting good effects without a drug. And that's because you have certain things in your body already that are endogenous, meaning they're in there already. And when you shine light on it, it can have an effect. One of those would be the effect of light, UVB, ultraviolet B, which is 297 nanometer, which is kind of like just in the violet, like ultraviolet range. And that creates vitamin D in your body. Everybody needs it. And a matter of fact, they used to have solariums where you could, for hospitals, where if you ended up in the hospital, they put you out in the solar room with glass and everything, so you would get sunlight and help you to heal. But with the advent of antibiotics, the hospitals decided that they didn't need the solariums anymore, and they were all closed up off of the hospitals. But if you go into research and you start digging into it, you'll find out that solariums were a part of the hospital. And it was a necessary part of the hospital where they speeded up healing by putting people out in the sunshine. Isn't that interesting? So light was used even back then before they knew it. There was a guy by the name of Andre Mester who there was some concerns about light causing bad C. And so they shaved the mice and they treated the area of the bare skin with a lot of light power from a laser, not enough to burn the mouse skin, but just a high amount. And they did this on repeated, and what they found out, it didn't cause any bad C, but where they treated the bare skin on the mouse, the hair grew back really fast compared to the mice that had their hair shaved and didn't have the light therapy. So they compared the light therapy against those that didn't. So anyways, so some people, there was some old stuff that said, hey, if you did light treatment, you might even cause bad C to occur. So in this case, there's been a few research stuff now. Well, not just a few, there's a lot more than that, but they have shown that no, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, when you undergo chemotherapy, if you have bad C, then the inside of your mouth can break down, and it can be so bad that people can't eat anymore because their mouth is totally inflamed from the inside. The back of their throat may be inflamed. They can't swallow, and they end up even going on a feeding tube, if you can imagine that. But if a person uses light therapy during that treatment time when they're undergoing chemotherapy, they can totally avoid this, what's called oral mucositis, the breakdown of inside their mouth. So I came tonight, the purpose of tonight was to share a little bit about different things that are technical that some of you that have watched my program may have seen this somewhere along the line. And since it's very important, I've probably shared it 2 or 3 times before that you may have seen. But there's also a lot of new people on tonight, and I thank you for joining us. And by the way, please go to our YouTube channel, SunPowerLED, and subscribe and like, because that way, when you subscribe, you'll find out when we release a new video of some kind. And a lot of times it's once a week with our webinars. But also we may have other interesting videos that we will also have up from time to have pop up, so you'll know about that. But also please click the like button, because if you click the like button, it'll allow us to go even far further than just our core group of people. It'll help YouTube to say, hey, these guys really have something, because there's been 50 likes on this one video and we should share it. So then that starts getting out there. There's an algorithm that searches for that, and it helps us big time. So please, if you want to help us, one thing is, please go to the SunPowerLED YouTube channel and subscribe and like. Also, I'm going to suggest too, please tell your friends about this. I know that lowers your chances of winning the Palm Ultimate a little bit, but come on, help other people learn what this can do for the human body. So I'm going to ask you to do that. So as I mentioned earlier, we have our September winner, that's Charlotte Boswell. Congratulations, Charlotte. Fantastic that that worked out for you. Okay, now I'm going to get into a little bit of the product, and then we're going to have a short video. But first, I'll just get into the product a little bit. We have 3 of the Palm devices. They all have the 660 nanometer bright wavelength, and 2 of them, what we call the professional, and the Ultimate have the 810 nanometer wavelength, which is this one here. And you can kind of see those excuse me for a sec. You can kind of see those purplish dots there. In actual fact, I see something not purplish, it's kind of red. It's just the way the camera's picking it up. But the Palm Professional and Ultimate have the 810 nanometer wavelength. And so we go 975 and then 1300 for the Ultimate, because the Ultimate is 25% more power. So those are the two units. Now, I do want to suggest if I won't be doing this too often, but I feel that I want to just say thank you for coming on tonight, and I'm going to offer that again as far as a discount. So if you if you purchase in the next 2 days, go online and go to our YouTube, sorry, not YouTube, to our SunPowerLED.com website and go and order a Palm Professional or Ultimate or Super Palm. We'll give you 10% off. Oh, as well as a helmet so any one of our products, you'll get a discount of 10%. So, hey, that's not bad. You can use that money for some other things. So, yeah. So, anyways, that's the we have the Palm Professional Ultimate, and then we have the Super Palm, which is the other Palm device, and it has the 660 as well. It has the same power as the Ultimate on the red, but it has similar power to the 810. But what you're going to see is you're just going to see one indicator light here, but because of the camera, you're actually seeing the 1050 nanometer. But when I look at it, there's nothing there. I just see the one little red indicator light here that tells us it's working. So we've done that way. Then we have the helmet, and the helmet has basically like 10 of the Palm lights all the way around. In all these devices, we have air cooling. That's to keep our LEDs nice and cool so they're happy. A happy LEDs means long life. Long life being like you could run it 24/7 for the next, well, if you ran it 2,000 hours a year, which is every working hour, basically, you get like 25 years use. So no problem. If you ran it 24/7, you'd probably be looking at about 5 years before the LEDs would drop in the output power by about 5%, 5 to 10%. And now that's because the LEDs are kept cool. So this is our Palm. This is our super regular helmet, which has the 660 nanometer. So that's just something that we've been able to help with a lot of people with different kinds of cognitive issues. Matter of fact, we had a study done at Shepherd's University for opiate addiction and depression, and one would just take this light and pull it down like this. And now I think I'll do the rest of the webinar with this on. I think this will be great. I'll speak even clearer. But no, this is the red 660 nanometer, and right now it's just a nice warm feeling. And then with the 10, this is the other wavelength right now, 810. You'll see some little purplish dots in the background, but that actually penetrates much, much deeper into the brain. So the 660 can go through the skull, and I've shown this before with a real human skull. We call him Alfred. Anyways, we take the light, the palm light, and shine right through this layer of the skull, right through the skull, and you can see the red light coming right through. We have so we have those units, plus we have a unit that is our what we call the mini canopy, which is this device here, which is 15 times the area of the palm units with about 12 times the energy. So the LEDs are really, really close, as you're seeing there. And that is very much unlike other devices. Now I switched it now to the 810 nanometer, and you see the purplish look to it. So we have, imagine having 15 palms. So if you're trying to treat an area of the back or the lungs or other big areas, that is a lot easier to like it's a lot shorter in treatment time. So the question did come up here. I just noticed that about light treatment on the brain. It's possible for migraines to use one of the palm devices. It's just a case of trying to figure out where is the trigger point. So first time around, I would be spending 1 minute with the red wavelength like that in that location, and then 3 minutes of the near infrared on that same location, and then treat another 1, 3, 1, 3, the lower neck area, 1 and 3 each location. So you're going to spend at anywhere, if you got 10 locations that you're thinking of to treat the entire brain, you could be spending on the upwards of 40 minutes with being 1 minute red and 3 minutes near infrared. A lot of time, but if you get rid of your migraine, how much better is that than going on drugs? But we've actually helped people with this device at shows with severe migraines. And within one round of treatment, that's 1 minute of the bright red and 3 minutes of the near infrared, we've been able to see people reduce their migraines substantially. And then we decided to do a second round of another 1 minute, 3 minutes. And we learned that in 8 minutes, we could get rid of the migraine in its entirety. So basically 8 minutes of treatment time and the migraine's gone. So and we've seen that over and over and over again, even this past weekend with the one woman having the migraine, not migraine, in her case, it was a bad headache. And it was almost 100% gone. In her case, it was like 4 minutes that we did the treatment. She had to go somewhere, but she was so pleased that that was the case. Now, I'd like to demonstrate something else, but this one is I can't demonstrate it live. There are some people that have asked me, well, what about EMF, electromagnetic radiation? And there's meters, like this is a very good quality meter that you can turn it on, but in actual fact, I can't demonstrate it because in the studio, we got I don't have any palm lights running, but in actual fact, we have a fair amount of RF because we have to have a good internet connection because of the business. So if I turn this on, it's actually showing you that I've got a very high level of EMF in the area that I have because of the high we need high internet connectivity. And so we are getting bombarded here with some higher EMF. But if I took that same meter and went out to the countryside and went and did measurements around this device, whether it's this or our mini canopy or the helmet, it's a very, very low reading. Like it's way down in the slight, like right down here. There's slight, medium, high, and extreme. And we're down in the slight, and you just got some lower numbers on it. So, we know that our device is not emitting dangerous high EMF activity. So that is very, very possible. So, anyways, there's people that have commented that one of the companies is now pushing out 10G. There's 5G now everywhere, but 10G, I'm not sure of what frequencies they're using for that, but it might not be good for the body. All right. So, yeah, speaking of healing, we were able to see more recently somebody who would have, who was, the doctors were talking to, surgeons were talking to this individual about amputation of his foot, a different, a new person. And the neat part was um, this person had a very good friend, and the friend reached out to him and said, "Look, I want to do this light therapy on your foot." And he explained what it would all do, and his friend was willing to give it a shot. And after a period of just about 2 months, it closed down the wound almost entirely. And so that person no longer is looking at amputation to remove their foot. So now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and set something up here, and hopefully it works. All right, we're going to try this out. Hopefully it works. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so my company, I've invested in a lot of expensive equipment over the years so that I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to just put this to this side here so I can see the numbers. And here's the sensor right here. So as I shine up at the light, you're going to see a high reading. If I block the light, it drops right down. So now you got 2.7 microwatts because my hand is blocking the light. And there you see 475 because and as I move it different directions, I can get different numbers. Now, if I put it in the back side of my hand here, so I'm just cupping it into my hand. So it's right there. And if I bring my fingers around, I'm actually dropping the light that's coming in. Okay. And the sensor is only that little window that you see there in the center. Okay. That little small window. It's actually about a half an inch wide. Let's see, is it a half an inch wide? No, it's just, no, that's more like 3/8 of an inch. So if I put that in my hand, like right now, you'll see a 0.07. As I turn my hand around and I start bringing my hand closer and closer to the light up here, it starts a little more. The further I go from away from the light, the lower the number. As I get closer and closer to the light, my numbers go up. So what I want to show you here is I right now have the Palm Ultimate right here. So if I shine it just basically over my hand, you're seeing 0.2 microwatts of power because I'm just shining it and it's just coming into this area here and lighting up my skin a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the back side of my hand like this. So if I bring it, see the light levels, the number keeps increasing. Now we're talking 1 microwatt, 2 microwatts. And as I get right up to my hand, it's around 6 microwatts of power that's coming through. Now, that's showing you that light is going all the way through the thickness of my hand and getting through to the other side. If I switch this right now to the off position, you can see the number is real low. So I'm turning on the red and you see the 6 microwatts. Turning off the light, it's down to 0.01 microwatts. Now what I'm going to do is switch it up to the near infrared. And we got 74 microwatts coming through. So look at this. I've gone from the red 6 microwatts, 5.6 around there. It moves, it changes a little bit if I'm not perfectly still. But if I go up to the other wavelength, the 810, I'm at 66 microwatts. Turn it off, drops real low. Turn on the near infrared, 66. I'm doing this for some of those that are skeptical and wondering, really, am I showing you the truth? Yes, I am. So basically, there's 10 times more light going through my hand from 660 nanometer to the 810 nanometer. a lot more light is coming through. So that shows how we're getting the 810. People think, oh, but it's not very bright, doesn't look very impressive. But that wavelength actually can go through much deeper, get more energy at a given depth. Now, if I put two hands there and I had a second hand there, I could show you that it'll still go through both my hands. But right now I don't have a third hand to hold it there. So yeah, we just can't demonstrate that. But yeah. Anyways, so that is how light can go through. Now I'll just show you one other thing. Here is the, again, we'll just do it there, 6-7 microwatts, okay? Then you may have seen these little mini panels here. And the mini panel, remember I had here on the near infrared, I have 50, 68, 70 microwatts coming through. Now what this unit has a mix of both red and near infrared. So I'm just turning it on and you can see, it's hard to see, but there, I'll show another demonstration, but you saw 66 microwatts of power. Now what do you see? They tell you to use this device from 6 inches away. We had 66 microwatts with my device. And with this device, we've got like what? 5, even if I put it right up to the skin, okay, I'm getting 8, 9, 10 microwatts if I put it right against the skin. And obviously it's more sensitive to where you put it. So I had 10 microwatts with this device here. And this device here is, you see, it all depends. If I move it, I could move it to give it the best, even higher levels just by moving it around. And so you saw 100 microwatt. So at least this device here is giving you 6 to 10 times more power coming out of this. And if you're trying to get into your shoulder, you're going to need to have enough power to go deep, okay? If you had, let's say, down at your bone, you had only 1/10 of the level getting to your bone, you're probably not going to do as much as you can with 10 times more light coming from my device. And that's why we've been able to reduce inflammation, whether it's in the brain or whether it's in different parts of your body. So that's really, really important to do. And gee whiz, I had this all set up nicely for you guys. And would have been nice for me. Well, maybe I can. Here, one more demonstration of the day. Okay, I'll put the light sensor. It's just looking at the ceiling. I'll put it back in my hand. There we go. Let's turn on, you want to turn on the mini canopy for me? I don't have another hand. Okay, here, put it on the near infrared, the 810. Okay, now we're going to use this device. Wow, look at that. Now it doesn't matter where I put my hand along this thing, see, I'm moving along my whole thing. So the whole area is getting that 89, 90 microwatts of power over that whole area. So that's why it is important when you're talking panels and trying to treat, you want to have a larger area because there's different things that'll affect how deep it goes. And unfortunately, I have this thing called a belly. My wife says it's bigger than it should be, but once in a while it gets a little smaller when I do it fast. But anyways, when you have some fat, that's going to reduce the amount of light that you are getting in. So the more light that you can have on surface, the more light you can get deeper in. And I welcome people to go visit my website and look up a PBM 2024 under the research tab. And the thing about that is that on the research tab, there's a PBM 2024 is when I show that I took a very, very expensive version of measurement of light. It costs basically, this device only cost me about $2,500. So much for the $100, the guys who are on the phone that, or phone on the videos, websites that show they pull out a low cost light meter and they say, look, these things go for about $100. And you're not sure really what levels they really are measuring. And they're not calibrated for measuring different wavelengths where this guy is, but this is like $2,500. I have another system that's between the ball, the round special ball called the culminating sphere, and the other sensor. We're talking almost $16,000 worth of equipment that I use just to measure light. Okay, so it's a big commitment to do that, but I'd rather give people real information about what light levels we have, and those are calibrated. We have what's called the NIST standards. We bought just even the other day, we bought a single light bulb. It has an adapter. It has a nice case. It's calibrated, and the single small light bulb costs us $600. That's just to confirm the light measurement that we have. So I decided to buy a new one so we could verify some of the light measurements. And guess what? We were on track. We were about 10% out of what the real measurement was. I think we were measuring even a little low, so I think it brought us up a little bit. But for the most part, we are calibrating and measuring things. So, but this device had a round opening in the top, and it's a big ball, and the ball is made out of aluminum, and the light gets in there and bounces all over the place. And then you put a sensor inside. In this case, I didn't even use this sensor. I used my expensive one, which is the one that's fiber optics and ties into your computer, and you can measure exact wavelengths. And with that, I measured the light levels going through one piece of steak, which is like 3/4 of an inch thick, two pieces of steak, 1.5 inches. Do your math, 3 pieces of steak, 2.25 inches. And we put that big chunk of steak on top of it. And I treated it really, really nicely. Put it saran wrap over it and everything while I did my tests. Later on, we were able to take it home and cook it. It was a good piece of steak. I did some light treatment on it. So anyways, we put this light on top of the steak like that, and we measured how much light was going through that, and we were able to measure it. So you can see how that light's going right through my hand. Well, when it was on top of the ball, the opening was only 2 inches in diameter in actual fact. So what was the light? Put this big steak over it. So there was the light wasn't getting around it any which way. It had to go through the tissue. In the end, we took our Super Palm and we put it on top, and our Super Palm has about 5 optical watts of power on top. And anyways, the 5 watts of optical power going through this little 2-inch opening. And there's also another 2-inch opening on the top. So we blocked a little bit of light. So basically we're about just a little under 5 watts because some of the light was blocked by the opening on top. And then I took a laser and I shone the laser onto the steak, and then it went through the tissue. And in the end, you can look at the graphs, but basically the 1050 nanometer Super Palm was shining through 2.25 inches of steak, and it went through 2.25. And then I took the laser 2.25 inches, and the palm light 2.25 inches. And both of them, after going through, even though they are both 5 optical watts of power, they both one was laser, mine was LED. We ended up having the same amount of light go through, like measured through the ball. So whether you use the laser on your shoulder or a palm light, 1050 nanometer, it was the same amount of light getting through. And the interesting part about it was very similar, very, very close, but there is a difference. Our device, the Palm, Super Palm 1050, is listed at $1,900. That laser I was using was somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000, and it only had one wavelength. It only had the 1050. It didn't have the 660 nanometer wavelength. So the 660 is also very important, and we got a lot of optical power at that. So between the two wavelengths, we are getting really, really good penetration. Really good with obviously the 810 or 1050. But you have your choice. You can go and spend a lot of money for a laser, and there's other devices you can also spend a lot of money for, and they don't have the optical power that we have. And you can buy a lot more light devices out there on Amazon and some of the other companies that buy their product from China. And what you'll find, they just don't have the power. I just demonstrated it. It's anywhere from 6 to 10 times less power coming into the area. So if you want to use these things and buy them for skin conditions, like some topical stuff, go for it. It'll help you. You might have to do half an hour, 45 minutes treatment, but it'll help you with skin conditions. Or you could use about 3 minutes with my device and get the same results. So you can spend a lot longer in time as well. But as far as trying to treat deeper areas, you cannot get there with these kinds of devices that are on the market. And you might have to go with extremely long treatments and spend a lot of money, and you still won't probably get as close to our devices. So I really wanted to try and get the price where we can support what we're doing, because it does cost a lot in North America to have employees, and to keep advancing the technology. We hope in the future to bring other forms out that will be another way of treatment. We've also got a new type of oral device that can do inside the mouth that's there, that we're just going to be bringing out shortly. But we do have the device that goes into, again, I don't have it handy here, but I do have the device that has the oral probe. That works very, very well for inside the mouth. So I did end up talking a long time to show these different things. Let me answer a couple of questions that might have been here. I want to thank you for those that have thanked me for doing the demonstration, so you could see it firsthand. Karen is saying, thank you, Karen, for your comment here. I'm excited to use the Super Palm for dry macular degeneration questions. How close to the eye should I hold it? How often can I do it? Can I do it twice a day? Perfect questions, Karen. So number one, if you're okay, some people feel it's just a little too bright. I've gotten used to it, but you can bring it up, closer to the eye and basically rest it right on your forehead and on your cheek, and do 1 minute that way. So 1 minute with your eyelids closed, everyone. 1 minute. Now, we're not trying to diagnose anything here. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know anything, but I've seen a lot of people help. So there we go. That's my disclaimer for tonight. So we got 1 minute. You do 1 minute of red with the eyelid closed. I'm closing only one eye right now. And then we do 1 minute of the near infrared. And you can do that on the upwards of 3 times a day. When you do it though with the bright red, you may notice that the colors change in the room for a few minutes. That's totally normal. That's because your eye is trying to color correct and make anything you look at with some white balance in it. And by using the very powerful red, it actually causes the saturation in the eye. That's why that happens. So not a problem, okay? So we've seen some really cool things happen with eyes for wet macular degeneration, dry macular degeneration, and really cool stuff. So okay, let's go on to some other questions here. Roll down. Yeah, there's a thank you, Faith, for posting that. Dr. Jennifer Flora, they did the transcranial helmet for opiate addiction and depression. Significantly reduction in depression, by the way, with the helmet, and you can read all about it on the study that's presented in the PBM 2024. Can more down, please? Okay, hold up there, please. And there, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to use the light technology. Really, when you're using the light and you close your eyes, it's the power level coming out of our device, which is very uniform, is 100 milliwatts per square centimeter. And I was going to say, if you find it too bright, by the way, if you just find it really hard, you can always bring it back 2-3 inches and reduce the light level to a more comfortable level. When it comes to the near infrared, there's no worry about that, and usually it's not as bright, or you don't see anything, so it's not harmful to go ahead and do it that way. And as far as other eye issues where you wouldn't use it, so far all we've been able to see is very positive responses for even cataracts and glaucoma, where there's pressure buildup in the eyes. So I have some people doing it for now, it's almost 2 years, and there's no issues there. We have I think it's Alicia. Alicia, thank you for your question. I am working on treating bone spurs in my cervical spine. Do you have any suggested protocols? My thoughts would be that you would probably use, because the spine is fairly close to the surface, so you're not going to have to worry about a long period of time. But if you were to treat like 2 minutes red, 2 minutes near infrared, probably a good number, 2 or 3. So it's not like you can't do longer if you want to do longer. But and when it comes to bone spurs, very interesting. This has got to be probably 8 years ago or so. We had another different device. We had the Genesis light, which was because LEDs were far too expensive far too expensive to use at the time to get any power for treatment. So we used a different form, a halogen source, and this person used the light on there with wavelengths similar to this. They used the light on there. There was some bone spurs in by the ankle, and this person had a difficult time getting around. They were using a walker, and after 6 months of using it, there was new X-rays that she walked around without a walker and was able to get out of the chair and on her own without help. And cool thing was that the bone spurs had dissipated. They got dissolved, so the body didn't need to put those spurs in place because healing of the bones in that case, or healing of the area, and the body was able to clean things up. So just like it laid down the bone spurs with calcium stuff build up, it was able to get that, clean that up again. So that was pretty neat for that person. Okay, next. And I know we're coming. Yes, Carla, body fat will reduce the depth of the light. So my suggestion, yeah, well, there's a good thing. You might want to look into, if people have excess weight, they might want to look into some fasting. It's always possible, but get help from somebody who knows what they're doing when it comes to fasting. Yeah. So, and by the way, with that example of the difference that I said about steak, we also tried pork and chicken. So we tried all thicknesses of those three different types of flesh. Only thing we didn't have is blood flowing through the flesh, so that would alter the readings somewhat, but at least it was a fair enough comparison. It was freshly slaughtered. One other thing I mentioned, so what I failed to mention is somebody about the eye safety. When you're doing this, like this, you have about 100 milliwatts per square centimeter coming out of this device, 100 to 150, depending on the model that you have. The sun puts out 100 milliwatts per square centimeter. So I don't know how many of you have gone out on the beach. I think all of us have at one point in our life, and laid on the beach for hour, 2 hours, sometimes getting burned, sometimes knowing to have put some sunscreen on so you could take it. But anyways, nobody's gone blind by sunbathing. If you go and stare at the sun with your open eyes, you could damage your retina. So I'm not suggesting to anybody that they would stare with their eyes open at the light LEDs for long periods of time. But a quick glimpse at it is not something that's going to harm your eyes. Unlike a laser, where you absolutely have to use protection glasses for a laser. Okay, let's see if there's any other. Thank you, Deborah, for your comments. Alicia, Yvonne, thank you. By the way, incontinence, we've seen somebody improve with that. And it was rather fast, but everybody's different. So just a possibility there. And if you, Yvonne, if you want to send us an email, and we'll try and connect with you at some point, discuss that a little further. I think it was for the two people that had, Lori, thanks for asking. With the two people that had cataracts, they had cataract surgery in one eye, and they were healing from it when they treated the other eye, and that had a cataract. I think it was a month or two that they used the light, and the next time they went in to get the surgery for the other eye, the cataracts had somehow disappeared. Amazing. Okay. You can do, Tamara, you could do that for heel spurs, different things like that. You can do that 3 times a day, like anything below your neck, 3 times a day is possible, and even speeding it up or doing longer treatments. Nope, we're not seeing any issues. So, well, I see the time has marched along. I think I've caught up on all the questions. If you have any other questions, please email info@sunpowerled.com. That's info@sunpowerled.com. We'd love to try and answer any questions you have. And remember that there's Christmas is coming, And I know last year people bought palm lights for their family members. Hey, I appreciate it. It helps us do a better job because more lights that we can get out there, more people are using it, more people are healed. So, and hey, what better thing that you can keep using? It's not something a new tie or something like that. Well, I realize ties are much less expensive, but it's not going to wear out. You can use it for your family members. They can use it on their friends. It helps a lot of people. So consider that as a possibility. But I will say that we do have that discount webinar 10. And so if you would like to buy that, again, please remember to go to the SunPowerLED YouTube channel and subscribe and like for us. That'd be really helpful. Maybe in the next few minutes while you still think of it, please do that. And remember to tell others about this program. We would really appreciate it. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And I wish all of you God's richest blessings. Bye for now.